When I first arrived in Indonesia, I was learning a new culture from the ground up. And because of my interest in community health on a global scale, I found myself searching for familiar structures, policies, systems, and interventions. But what I encountered instead was something slower, older, and deeply relational. Here, death is not a moment, it's a process, and health does not end when the body stops breathing. During our visit, we witnessed Galangan Day, when ancestral spirits are believed to return. Homes, temples, and streets are adorned with offerings, decorations, and pincher poles that represent cosmic balance and spiritual connectivity because of the shape. Families pray for health, protection, and prosperity, not just for themselves, but for the community. These rituals strengthen social ties, reinforce responsibility, and maintain spiritual and moral balance. By showing care for ancestors and neighbors, communities sustain collective health, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. Health here is more relational, moral, spiritual, and communal, and it is repeated daily, year after year. Everywhere you go, small acts of care are happening. Offerings and prayer occur multiple times a day, to different gods and ancestors. On the street, at homes, in temples, a small green tray with flowers, incense, and food may be right at your feet. Watching how care flows from ancestors to community to the self began to change how I understood public health. Health here isn't an intervention, it is a relationship. And with that foundation in everyday and festival-based care, we begin to see how funerals themselves extend these principles into practice.
Bapak Diki, Bapak Dika, Batu Lili, Zome Kundasan, Batu Sobon, Batu Mamakili, Latongkon Marinten Gilan Lantana Mamakili, Sangge Adera Satian Karana.
In parts of Indonesia, especially in Sulawesi and Bali, a person who has biologically died is not immediately dead. They are considered sick and still present, still cared for, still part of the household until funeral rites are complete. Families speak to them, they bring coffee, meals, and even light cigarettes. They continue the daily life together. Health here is not just about survival, it's about proper transition. A typical Torajan funeral can take months or even years to prepare. During that time, families save money, assign roles, raise animals, and build temporary ceremonial structures, large porches and pavilions to receive guests. Funerals are massive communal events. Entire villages gather. Grief is shared publicly, and the scale of the ceremony reflects responsibility, not excess. Pigs and water buffalo are not sacrificed casually. They are essential to the journey of the deceased into the afterlife, a place known as Puya. The buffalo, in particular, are believed to carry the spirit into the next world. The number sacrificed reflects status, but also how much the family is willing to give back to the community. After the ceremony, the meat is distributed around those attending, feeding hundreds of people. This provides nourishment, but also a sort of social obligation.
You want to make it the status, just you ask the special the people how much I give you. To make it the status, and then you give your photo. But tomorrow you see the people they they make it They see the photo and then they make it, and then they send the price.
After the funeral, the dead are placed into stone graves carved by hands into rocks, which can take around a year. Or even Hagen coffins, as I saw in Tarajan culture in South Sulawesi. We visited a man whose job is to carve the closings to these hillside graves, a process that can take from a few weeks to a few months. Some are painted on and even have water buffalo sculptures mounted on them. But regardless, each carving tells a story. The wooden statues, called tao tao, represent the deceased. They are carved, dressed, and placed on the cliff to continue watching over the living. Their placement reflects social position. From the way their hands are positioned to the types of clothes they have on, each statue tells a story of a life and work to preserve memory, lineage, and identity. But in Bali, elaborate cremation towers are built and burned to liberate the soul from the physical body, enabling it to reincarnate. It often features animal sarcophagi like bulls or lions, with heights and tiers indicating caste. Kuburan Terunyan, a cemetery where dead are not buried or cremated. Instead, they rest in an open, sacred space. The community continues to care for them, bringing offerings, food, money, and symbolic protection like umbrellas to help them in their next stage of life. Here, death does not remove responsibility, it extends it. After spending time in funerary spaces, caring for ancestors, honoring the dead, and participating in collective rites, we turn towards self-care. At the water temple, we move from fountain to fountain, praying for the health of the mind, body, and spirit, asking ancestors and different deities for balance and protection. Watching how care flows from ancestors to community to the self made something clear to me. Here, ritual is not separate from health. It is how health is practiced. At first, I struggled to place public health within these practices, but the longer I stayed, the clearer it became. Health here isn't an intervention, it's a relationship. These rituals manage grief, they redistribute resources, they prevent spiritual and social harm, and they maintain balance. Public health often asks for evidence that can be measured, but here, health is sustained through repetition, care, and collective responsibility. The pigs contribute to health, the offerings contribute to health, and the rituals hold the community together. Spirituality may not always live in data, but it lives in communities, and that is where public health begins. Illuminati.